Welcome to Indiana Sports Beat Radio, brought to you by the Hard Truth Distilling Company in Brown County, Indiana.
So for the thousands in attendance and the millions watching around the world, it's time!
Three on the way. Oh! It went in! It went in! And Indiana wins the ball game! Know your role and shut your mouth, you jabroni! Float game for the win! Ayler's gone! Come on, touchdown, Indy! Woo! IU! America! They got a football team now!
Pretty simple. I win. Google me.
You know that I'm the cream of the crop.
Now, from the Hard Truth Studios, here's Jim Coyle.
Hello, sports fans. Welcome to another edition of Indiana Sports Beat Radio on this Tuesday. Glad to have you along, as always. Appreciate you joining us, no matter where or how you're listening. It's looks like it's going to be a little rainy out there today, but that's okay. It's not going to rain inside, and I hope all of you are going to be there. Looking forward to another fun day. Mike DeCourcy will join us as always, and Sam Alexis, current Indiana basketball player, Florida transfer, will join us as well, as we'll get his take on this Hoosier roster that he's going to be a very important part of as one of the men in the middle, it looks like, because he can bring that kind of play, as the Hoosiers will be looking a little different this season. So looking forward to talking to him about that and how he sees himself on this team. Plenty of other things to get to as well. And this didn't just happen, but Brian Walsh, the former assistant at Indiana, lands at Ohio State as an assistant. So congratulations to Brian. Sent a text out to him congratulating him. It's a great place for him to land. Great position, and gives him the opportunity to continue coaching in the Big Ten, and hope that works out for him. Great guy, hard worker. So good to see that. Last night in the NBA lottery draft, I'm not sure if you saw that, but Dallas had a 1.8% chance of winning the number one pick. 1.8%. And guess who wins the number one pick? Dallas. Yes. They wind up with the number one pick. They trade away Luka Doncic and still come away with the number one pick, which is crazy. San Antonio has 2 lottery picks, so they're in pretty good shape. Don't they already have Victor Wembanyama? Man, the rich get richer. It's going to be interesting to see how this draft goes. But NBA playoffs continuing, and it is looking more and more likely that we are going to see a Pacers-Knicks redo. Now, both the Pacers and the Knicks lead the number 1 seed Cleveland and the number 2 seed Boston 3-1. I mean, this is absolutely crazy to see what's going on in the East, but it is, and I'm here for it. It's fun. It is fun, and looking forward to seeing some Spike Lee up in the Garden and all of that good stuff. Boy, y'all got one, and there's a conversation going in the chat room today, looks like, on the YouTube side of things. So, man, they're going at it. But appreciate everybody joining us, no matter how or where. 97.7 ESPN, the Ref, always the right call down in Evansville, one of our great affiliates, as is 1230 AM, 104.7 FM, WJLB, the voice of the region, and Fort Wayne Sports Station, 1380, The Fan. Keep it locked where you got it, because you've got it in the right spot. Looking forward to talking to Mike about all of these things. And, man, Dallas, you want to talk about getting lucky. I don't know if that is the least likely chance to win the top lottery prize and to get it, but they certainly did. Also, the NCAA president says he's open to President Donald Trump's idea of a sports commission Charles Baker said Monday he was up for anything. Yeah, it's because we want to stay relevant. Otherwise, we're just going to disappear. So I'm sure they are up for about anything. But he said that when asked about President Donald Trump's proposed commission on college athletics. Reports surfaced last week that Trump was going to create the commission, while his conversations at ACC meetings with league football coaches, men's and women's basketball coaches, athletic directors, and other school officials focused on governance and the pending House settlement. Baker was asked during an informal media availability for his thoughts on the commission. I think the fact that there's an interest on the executive side of this, I think it speaks to the fact that everybody is paying a lot of attention right now to what's going on in college sports, Baker said. I am up for anything that can help us get somewhere. Baker noted the NCAA has already spent time in Washington asking for congressional help that is focused on three big issues. Among the biggest, a patchwork of state laws that relate to how collegiate athletics work in individual states. Yes. And whether student athletes should be considered employees. I think Congress can help us. I really do. ACC Commissioner Jim Phillips said during an interview with the ACC Network, we have been very bold in the desire for a national standard when it comes to NIL. We need to make sure that we have something that comes out of Washington that connects all 50 of the states, because we have a piecemeal project and it's really undermined college sports. It is true. I mean, you've got certain states that allow certain things, certain states that don't allow certain things. And as soon as states started getting involved, that was a huge aggravation to me. It's like, why are you, again, when a state does it, you're purposely doing something to impact. You may be impacting one thing in a positive way, but you're impacting a greater amount in a negative way. So there's that. But it is more and more likely that we are going to see some intervention. And as long as it goes in the right direction, hey, I'm for it. So what are you going to do? Michael Davis, the co-defendant of the Darius Miles, found guilty of capital murder. Former Alabama basketball player Darius Miles, he was a co-defendant. Well, Michael N. Davis, the co-defendant of former Alabama basketball player Darius Miles, on Friday was found guilty of capital murder. If you remember this, back in 2023. God, you hate to hear that, but that's some of the negatives about sports. But Dr. Bamba has passed away as well, so that's a whole nother mess. That also, I don't think it was talked about. I believe there was a report that came out that exonerated Dr. Bamba, so that's going to create some conversations as well. With what happens with that lawsuit, it's going to be interesting to see if that goes away or not, and if how the players that were on there will be treated, because I don't think that they should be pointed out to be negative, because I don't think that was the case. Regardless, just a lot of stuff that hopefully a lot of stuff to get past, to be honest with you. And the basketball program has so much stuff that it needs to just get past. And I was thinking about this before the show, like with Luke Goody's appeal and whatnot. I just, man, he's a great kid. And I definitely don't wish him any ill will. I like him, talk to him, see him. I think that this team needs to just fresh start, complete. It really needs a clean break. a clean break with the fans, a clean break with everything, a clean break with the attitude in the locker room, with the thoughts in the locker room, with all of that. You've got a completely new coaching regime that is not a part of any of that. Luckily, they don't fall into that stuff. They probably don't listen to that. But players obviously do. So it's time for just moving forward. Looking forward to talking to Sam Alexis today. He's won a lot of conversations of not having a quote unquote big guy. Something else I also started thinking about. You know, Trace Jackson Davis was Indiana's quote unquote big guy. He was 6'9". He abused Zach Edey. Indiana has that. They've got that in Sam Alexis. They've got that in Reed Bailey. So, and what they also have that they didn't have with Trace Jackson Davis, and an inordinate amount of perimeter shooting, speed, guard and wing play, and the usage of it. Most importantly, the usage of it, the planned usage of it, the plan for it to be in the offensive rotation. So I don't think that fans should really worry about the personnel. It's just whether or not they're talented enough to do what they need to do to get to where they need to get. I'm no longer concerned with this quote unquote big guy thing. So Trace Jackson Davis has bulked up, but that's what happens. You get older, you have more years, you're getting on different programs. That's what the NBA has to have them. Yeah, Matt Nover, perfect, David. Good. Eric Anderson, 6'8". This is not I don't think it's the issue that it's been made out to be now, because these guys that Indiana does have, they're also very athletic, these 6'8", 6'9" guys. And because they're not 6'10", they work harder. They know that they have to put that extra in. Hey, we're going to take a quick break. Mike DeCourcy scheduled to join us next on the program today. Sam Alexis as well. Looking forward to it. Back with more from the Hard Truth Distilling Company Studios. Glad to have you along for the ride so far. Right after these messages. Andy Moore Honda is Bloomington's #1 Honda dealer for a reason. Buy a new Honda and get a 3-month break from car payments. That's right, no payments for 90 days. That includes the all-new, all-electric Honda Prologue, and you get it for just 0.9% financing. Or the 2024 Honda Ridgeline Black Edition or the Honda Accord LX, both for just 1.9% financing. Get more to your door from AndyMooreHonda.com, Bloomington's #1 Honda dealer and your best place for new and used vehicles. If you're looking for a new home in the Indianapolis area, you need Cheryl Sizemore from Brick and Ivy Realty. Cheryl Sizemore has over 2 decades of experience, and that could be the difference in getting the home you want in today's tough housing market. Reach out to Cheryl at CherylSizemore@gmail.com or 317-701-0838. That's 317-701-0838. Let Cheryl Sizemore sell or find your new home today. Located on 325 acres in beautiful Brown County, Indiana, Hard Truth Distilling Company is the biggest and the best craft distillery around. While Hard Truth is already known for producing internationally awarded whiskeys and spirits like Hard Truth Sour Mash Bourbons, Sweet Mash, and Hard Road Rye, as well as their cinnamon vodka and the always popular Toasted Coconut Rum. Hard Truth Distillery offers so much more. With a full-service restaurant, ATV, and distillery tours, as well as live music, you can spend an entire day at Hard Truth Distillery while making your entire family or group happy. And that's the Hard Truth. Hard Truth products are available across Indiana, as well as many other states. So no matter where you shop, if they don't carry your favorite Hard Truth product, tell them you want the truth. the Hard Truth. Hard Truth Distilling Company encourages you to enjoy all of their products responsibly and to never drink and drive. Welcome back to the Hard Truth Distilling Company studios on this Tuesday. Mike DeCourcy from the Sporting News, Fox, and the Big Ten Networks with a beautiful backdrop. Must be in the basement this week. How are you, sir?
I'm doing well, Jim. How are you?
I can't complain. Just enjoying life. Returned from my daughter's graduation over the weekend in Oxford, and the weather it was okay. She didn't get to graduate in the Grove, which I'm sure she was disappointed about because of the weather. But I think she already has a master's in the Grove. She's good.
I was gonna say which Oxford, but then you brought up the Grove, so it made it clear that you were talking about Mississippi.
Yeah, she's smart, but I'm not quite sure she's that smart.
No, I meant Oxford, Ohio, where Miami.
Oh,
is.
no. Oh, yeah, no. I thought you meant Oxford, England. I'm like,
but there is that one too. Yes.
Yeah, not too bad. But how are things going with you?
I am doing well and glad to be back after checking my phone at right around 9 a.m. 9:05 last week, sitting in downtown Main Street. Is that what they call it at the opening to Disney World? I was on Main Street. My wife was using the restroom. I looked at my phone. I'm like, oh my gosh, I'm supposed to be on with Jim. So I apologize.
Brought Mickey on. You could have brought Mickey Mouse on. Maybe they could have done an American Idol segment or something.
Yes, that's where I was at that point, and I apologize for that, but happy to be back.
Glad to have you. Plenty going on. Last night, right off the bat, the NBA lottery draft. How in the world does Dallas, with 1.8% chance, that's almost like a token opportunity. We're going to list your name on the program to be nice, but you don't have a shot. And damn, they win it. I mean, I was thinking how is San Antonio going to come out of this thing? Can you imagine if they drew number one and had the second pick or something like that? And they weren't far off from that.
No, they were not. So they have a nice wide variety of options with some terrific players. Dylan Harper, Ace Bailey. I'm a big fan of Derek Queen. There's some terrific players out there that they can get. But one of the interesting elements of this whole Dallas thing is, first of all, the conspiracies, which are mind-boggling. Like the idea that because they traded Luka, that they would get Cooper. I don't understand the Beeman-esque leap from one spot to the other. But then the other part of it is, if you think about it, they are being lambasted for doing something stupid and winding up getting somewhat rewarded for it. But if you think about it, every single team that's in the lottery is pretty stupid or pretty lousy or whatever.
They're bad. They've done.
They may have been a more aggressively stupid in trading Luka the way they did. But I mean, my goodness, the Washington Wizards, like, they haven't had a pulse for like 25 years and have done all, and it took them like 15 of those years to finally make a change in their front office. So like, if they had won, wouldn't they have been rewarded for the same degree of incompetence as Dallas showed in trading Doncic?
Yeah, it's and it hasn't worked out for the Lakers all that well. I mean, I guess maybe, I don't know if it made them better. I'm sure it made them better, but not better enough.
Well, I think that I don't love the Lakers roster generally. I'm not a big fan of some of the guys they have complementing the two stars. I think they have to rethink that and see if there's some guys that they can get in there to help retool what's around those two players. They did have a pretty good finish to the regular season when Luka took the trip to LA. They did have a pretty good finish to the regular season. They were very poor in the playoffs. But I think we'll see. And I'm still not convinced yet that JJ Redick is the right coach for the Lakers. I don't understand why someone would get that job with basically no experience, Jim. It's not that far. I mean, it's far, but it's not that far from appointing me the head coach of or maybe it'd be more like appointing me the general manager of an NBA team, because obviously I haven't done a lot of the X and O'ing, and as a player, JJ had. But you don't have to do the X and O'ing in front office. And I have 45 years of experience evaluating talent, but it still would be ridiculous to put me in that spot. I may have a better eye for talent than some of the people who do it, but that still would be ridiculous to put me in that spot because I have no experience actually doing that job. So I'm still skeptical about whether or not JJ Redick is the right choice to do that. But now he at least has a year's experience. So maybe next year he'll be better.
Yeah, I never understand when a team at that elite level does things like that, puts people that don't have the experience needed to be one of the greats. You look at the Chicago Bulls. Well, they didn't go on that run with some rookie coach.
Right.
The Lakers, the Celtics I'm like, what? And it seems like it only happens at the pro level. They will just
no. It doesn't only happen at the pro level, Jim.
Well, it seems like it's more prevalent. It is all.
Well, it may be.
It sticks out more. It sticks out more probably because there are so few pro teams, and when it happens, it really grabs your attention.
But there have been lots of college coaches, like Chris Mullen, for instance, had worked in the front office of the Warriors, and was widely regarded as pretty effective, but he hadn't coached, and they made him the head coach at St. John's. So it's not that it's never happened. People like Clyde Drexler would be another, had not coached, had played, it was one of the all-time greats, but had not coached, and Houston appointed him to be their head coach back in the 90s. So it does happen. And it generally turns out as you would think it would happen, because experience is a great teacher. It's the best teacher. And I don't know how one can be expected to do a job that one's never had any level of experience at and succeed at the highest level, whether it's in the Big East with St. John's or at the highest level of basketball, the NBA.
How about these Eastern Conference semifinals, man? We are looking dead in the crosshairs of a Pacers-Knicks redo in the conference finals. And it's pretty surprising, obviously, with the number 1 and number 2 seeds on the wrong end of a 3-1 series record right now.
Yeah, I think we're seeing a significant change in the NBA, Jim. I think some of the changes that they have made to their salary cap structure in the NBA have completely changed the competition, and for the better. The idea of only a few teams having a real chance at making the NBA finals or winning the title, I think we're gone. I think we're past that. I mean, it started when they put the salary cap in, and then they decided to amend it with the bird rights concept. So it meant that teams like the Celtics and Lakers of the 80s never had to be pulled apart. They could remain intact with multiple superstars as long as they gathered them. They could remain intact with multiple superstars and continue to dominate. I mean, the Lakers and the Celtics won nearly every NBA title in the 80s. I believe the only exception was the Sixers in 83. So I think that we're past that now, and I think it's great for the league. I don't know that the Pacers would have had a serious chance at winning an NBA title unless they had been San Antonio fortunate, so to speak, getting David Robinson and Tim Duncan in the space of a period of a brief period. If the Pacers had been able to do that, perhaps they could have competed. They never tanked. The Pacers never tanked, and yet here they are with a 3-1 series lead in the Eastern Conference semifinals one win away from playing in the conference finals for a second consecutive year.
Yeah, I'm just looking forward to the possibility of potentially the Pacers going to the champions to the NBA finals. That would be just nuts. I don't know. Does anybody have a chance of stopping Oklahoma City? Is the next question.
Well, I think so. I mean, it's Denver has played them very competitively to this point, so I don't think that we can say that no one has a chance. They're certainly a terrific team with tremendous players. Starting with Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, it's a great team that won a ton of games, but the Cavs were a terrific team that won a ton of games in the regular season, and they're not out of it. They could still come back, but the Pacers have a 3-1 series lead on them and just put 80 points on them in a half and build a 40 point plus lead against that great team. So I'm not going to say that no one can compete with the Thunder. No, it's much too competitive in the league right now.
Yeah, absolutely. And I'm looking forward just because both of the Pacers are very offensive team. Obviously, one of the best offensive teams. Cleveland, the best offensive output of this season in the NBA. But the defense has stepped up for Indiana. That's something that they weren't exactly known for.
Right.
But man, they were just that game the other night was mind-boggling. It was. I don't even have words for it. It just kept getting bigger and bigger. And I was talking yesterday about, my God, I'm thinking, well, they're going to hit 50 points at the break. And I'm like, wait a minute, they're going to hit 60. Wait a minute, they're going to hit 70. And it gets to 80. And I'm like, all right, I give up. I've never, not in a playoff game, in a regular season. Right. On certain times when things aren't going right, you have some injuries. Yeah, I get it. Not in an NBA playoff game over the number one seed, no less.
Yeah, my wife and I went to a game last season, probably around November, December. I can't remember who they were playing. I think it might have been Carolina, Charlotte, whatever they're calling themselves. And I remember being amazed that they put up something like 68 in the first half. And that's a heck of a number. It might have been a little bit more than that, but I think it was 68 because I don't think that it crossed over in the 70s. And then you do that, like you said, in the Eastern Conference semis against the number one seed. Just staggering the level of performance they brought. So impressed by what the Pacers did on Sunday. It was an absolutely brilliant performance, and I loved how it was handled. After the game, the idea, they haven't done it yet. This was unbelievable. But if you start to think, look what we did to them, then all of a sudden at that point, you're starting to fall into the same hole you fell into Friday night. Rick Carlisle said, no, we're not doing that. We are acknowledging that this was a remarkable performance, but that there's still another game to win before you get to move on. And if they look at Sunday and say we're just that much better than them, we don't have to bring it, then they'll struggle as they did on Friday night, and then they'll have to try to do it again. So why not just bring it tonight, have a grade A performance tonight, and not have to worry about coming back to Indy for the next game?
Switching topics, how about Bill Belichick and all that he has brought to college football? I have not really talked about that. I've just kind of enjoyed the sideshow, and I'm a little amazed because this is the guy that was so play more, win. They scored more points than we did. That was, and now he's got this girlfriend that no 72-year-old man would normally be able to have, but she seems destined to do one thing, and that is promote her and what she's doing and all of that. And it's clear as glass to everybody except one of the most brilliant minds in the NFL.
When they hired him, I wrote a column saying what a terrible decision it was $10 million for a guy who's never coached in college, who's never recruited, who had never evaluated talent at that level. And it is different to project a high school player to a college success than it is to project a college success to NFL participation. It is much different. Hasn't done any of that, and you're going to pay him $10 million. And frankly, if you look at his record without Tom Brady, I mean, it's not a whole. It is really not impressive. It is pretty meager. So I thought it was a terrible decision on that level. I never imagined any of this would happen or be a factor. It never occurred to me that this would become the story of the day. And it was amazing to me. To me, look, I know a lot about public relations because I've been married to someone who is outstanding in that profession for more than 40 years. And so I've watched her operate very close up, and she has done some remarkable things. She retired from the Indiana Farm Bureau as chief of marketing and communications last April. She's tremendous. And you don't do what was done in that CBS interview. You don't have the PR contact step in to that interview. No, you prepare ahead of time. If you're asked this question, here's how you answer it. You don't do what was done. So that shows right away that she's not ready for that level of responsibility and spotlight. But he granted it to her, and it became problematic for him and as a result for North Carolina. I don't know whether what's being reported by Pablo Torre is going to come to fruition or how much veracity there is there. I'd have no idea. But I know that it's not good for Carolina football that it's being reported. That much I'm sure of. That he is reporting that Belichick might not make it to game one. I don't know. I don't really believe that's necessarily going to happen. But the fact that it's being placed out there in the public is really negative for North Carolina.
Yeah, because it puts all kinds of thoughts in the players' heads. Now you're affecting the program. It has just been a colossal mistake. And I saw others that said that, this is dumb. But North Carolina has an athletics director who blatantly put his own team in the NCAA tournament or got his team put in somehow that didn't deserve it. I don't think that anybody can deny that. They did not deserve it.
They did not deserve it.
Absolutely not. And it's that, to me, that shows the character. This is also the same university that had 18 years of academic fraud and got away with it.
Now, I will say, first of all, that I know Bubba and I really like him, and I don't blame him for what happened.
Well, he made money on it. See, he made a bonus.
Oh yeah, I will say that if
that was a horrible look.
If that bonus absolutely existed, if it genuinely existed, there's no way that. Well, let me just put it this way: Bubba or anybody else, anybody that has that clause in their contract and serves on that committee should suspend it. Anybody should suspend it. It is absolutely ridiculous for them not to suspend it. It's irresponsible. So I don't know whether that happened or not. I based on the reporting, I assume it was there, but I don't know that because I haven't looked at the contract. But I can tell you that it's not unusual for an athletic director to have that item in their contract, something like it. And it absolutely should be suspended for the entirety of one's time on the committee, whether it's the football committee and that uses sitting ADs as well, sitting conference commissioners, etc. They use those people as well, or the women's, or baseball, or anybody else that you have some sort of bonus on a selection committee process. You absolutely should suspend that for your time on the committee. It's the only responsible way to do it. I'm amazed if it didn't happen. If that didn't happen, that's something that should be rectified ex post facto. Okay, I screwed up by not thinking of that, so I'm going to donate the money to charity or whatever. But as it stands now, that's not sufficient.
Absolutely. I agree with you, sir. And Mike DeCourcy's with us. Plenty more coming up after this break from the Hard Truth Distilling Company studios. Back with more on the other side. Know a team or group needing a fundraiser? Boost Fundraising raises more money faster and offers the most unique and user-friendly online fundraiser in the nation. Your team receives personalized fundraising pages for each team member. Free team-branded promo gifts shipped to each donor. Boost Fundraising does it all. Sports teams, marching bands, charity causes, and community groups. Go to boostfundraising.com and be sure to enter the promo code COYLE, that's COYLE, to receive a discounted fundraiser. Located on 325 acres in beautiful Brown County, Indiana, Hard Truth Distilling Company is the biggest and the best craft distillery around. While Hard Truth is already known for producing internationally awarded whiskeys and spirits like Hard Truth's sour mash bourbons, sweet mash, and hard road ryes, as well as their cinnamon vodka and the always popular toasted coconut rum. Hard Truth Distillery offers so much more. With a full-service restaurant, ATV, and distillery tours, as well as live music, you can spend an entire day at Hard Truth Distillery while making your entire family or group happy. And that's the Hard Truth. Hard Truth products are available across Indiana, as well as many other states. So no matter where you shop, if they don't carry your favorite Hard Truth product, tell them you want the truth, the Hard Truth. Hard Truth Distilling Company encourages you to enjoy all of their products responsibly and to never drink and drive. Welcome back to the Hard Truth Distilling Company studios on this beautiful Tuesday. Not sure if it's beautiful where you are or not, but we've got Mike DeCourcy, so that makes it beautiful. How are you? How is the weather over there in Pittsburgh?
Miserable. It's raining and expected to rain pretty much most of the week. So
yeah, when I was down in Oxford, there was like this weird storm in the Gulf or something, I guess, because I kept noticing everything was coming east to west. And I'm like, wait a minute, what's going on? I had to look down there. But yeah, plenty. It looks like it's going to rain here for the next few days, which is okay. I guess we can get through it. But, man, I'm ready for some dry, clean weather to get out and enjoy some things. Man, we're not that far away from Big Ten football media days, Mike. I know it's not until July, but that's not that far away when you stop and think about it.
Basically 2 months. Yeah.
Yeah. And man, I think as exciting as the Big Ten was last year, it might be more exciting this year because there's some, I don't know how good Iowa's going to be, although I expect them to be good because they added the quarterback from South Dakota State. So that probably is going to change, give them some options they've never really had before. We know Illinois is considered a top 10 team by a lot of people right now on Indiana's schedule. That's who they open up Big Ten play with. Then Indiana goes to Iowa. Then they go to Oregon. You want to talk about an opposite of fortune from last year's schedule to this year's schedule. I mean, last year's schedule was literally set up with incremental challenges in each game, almost to the end until they played Purdue. This year it's not the case, but you get to game 4, 5, and 6. That is the meat of their schedule that will kind of not determine their season, but for lack of a better word, craft their season, because those 3 games, those are 2 of the road games that I think that they need to win one of. That or the other game is Penn State, who happens to be number 1 in the preseason by some people. So, there will be no questions about Indiana's schedule this season.
Yeah, one of the interesting things about the Hoosiers, though, is even with that schedule, I was looking at someone posting the totals, the Vegas totals for Big Ten teams. I don't know who did it, but I noticed it on the internet. So I don't even know whose odds they were. but one of the books had IU at 8.5 wins over. So your wager, if you're so inclined, and I have been known to, on occasion, I don't bet much at all, Jim, but if I happen to be like in the Bahamas a couple of times, I've bet on one of those types of wagers. How is the season going to go for a particular team? You might not be surprised that the team on which I wagered was the Steelers, but I did just put, I don't know, I think I put like $20 down or something like that on them going over whatever the total was. So that's the bet, are the Hoosiers or anyone else in the league going to win more than 8 games or 8.5 games or fewer? And I thought it was really impressive that they got enough respect with their roster, with their coaching and the schedule, et cetera, that it was, I believe, 8.5. It could have been 8, but it definitely wasn't below that. And that's a considerable statement about being able to sustain last year's success.
Especially considering how many times Indiana has won 8 games in the history of the program.
Yes.
No joke. Last year it was at 5.5 or 6. That's exactly what this ticket is right here. Exactly. I'm with you, Mike. I'm like, oh, I'll take that all day long last year. And so not this year. No, if it's an 8.5, that's right. Because, and ironically, 8-4 is very possible, but I'm like, well, that would be the low end, I think. And it would be a little disappointing. Think how funny that statement is. 8-4. Yeah, it's a little disappointing. How many times have they ever won 8 games in a season? And that would be disappointing. It's just crazy because the mind has been risen to that bar where the bar has been raised to. Right. But I think this is going to be a hell of a team, a hell of a season. It's going to be a fun season in the Big Ten. I don't know who all is going to be great. Penn State picked up there, obviously Oregon and Illinois. So we'll see. There's always surprises. Who's this year's Indiana? I mean, it can't be Illinois because we already know they're good. They won 10 games last season.
Yeah, it could be Nebraska, maybe, with the young quarterback they have, Raiola. So I think it's I love what college football has become. I really do. I think that I'm not wild about the concept. I don't mind the expansion idea to 16 if that's what they want to do. I think that's fine. I don't have any problem with that at all. I don't like the guaranteed automatic bids for particular conferences. You get 4, I get 4, they get 2. I'm not crazy about that at all. I think that that's a mistake because those leagues should have to earn them. Although they probably will, they should have to earn them. And so I'm not a fan of that. And I've always said, like, if you want to structure it so that, okay, so at that, that would mean of the field, 1 quarter would be SEC, 1 quarter would be Big Ten, and then et cetera, 1/8 to the other 2 major leagues. If that's what you wanted to do, just do it with the money. Like, make sure that you get the money that you want, but don't mess with the structure of the competition. I think that's a mistake. I think they'll end up each getting 4 or more bids in particular years. I think it's going to be rare for them to get 3, but that's what makes it interesting. Is this a year when you do better, or is this a year when you do worse? I think that's part of what makes the NCAA tournament work, and I think they should learn from that and not be fearful that they might slip on a regular basis, because they're not going to. They're the 2 most powerful leagues, the 2 richest leagues. They're going to get I did last fall, I did a 10-year study using the membership of the leagues as it stood in 2024. So like Washington, any bid that they got to the college football playoff from 2014 to 2023 counted as a Big Ten, et cetera, et cetera. And Oklahoma and Texas, same thing. And they both averaged 4 bids a year. And there were years in which each of them got 5. So why mess with that? I think that's a mistake. But I love the idea that Indiana can be interesting in college football now beyond the state borders, beyond just the Bloomington area, beyond the people who just want to go to the game on a beautiful October afternoon in Bloomington. They last year they were a story and a team that everybody had to pay attention to, basically from October 1st all the way until Notre Dame defeated them.
Yeah, I agree with everything you said. I mean, to me, it's just basically been the fact that the SEC was embarrassed last year because they're considered to be the league that carries the mantra of college football, and they were literally embarrassed last year, and they could not try to latch onto this. Well, we're beating each other. Yeah, Vanderbilt beat you, so chill out, man. Greg Sankey, I guess to us, we see how it looks, but he has to answer to his constituents, so to speak, which is the SEC ADs, presidents, and all of that, to bring in the money and all. And so I understand his fight, but I agree that it's dumb. They're going to get it, and if they don't, it's just going to be in a weird year like last year was.
Like last year, yeah. Last year was
just that.
Yeah. I mean, last year they should have gotten 3 because they weren't that good. But we all know that was totally atypical. That wasn't the SEC that we have known for most of the last quarter century. It just was a bad year. And so in a bad year, you should be punished, so to speak. You shouldn't be rewarded just because you're a member of a particular club. That's wrong. You should be rewarded for great performance. And the SEC has delivered that year after year after year after year after year until last year. Okay, so you had a bad year. No biggie. You had an unbelievable year in basketball and got 14 bids. That's not standard either. And maybe it will become the standard. We'll see. But it wasn't standard, but they got what they earned. They earned 14 in the men's basketball tournament, and they got them. They earned 3 in the football championship, and they got them. That's the best way to do it. And again, I don't care about the money. The SEC and Big Ten want to take most of the money. That's fine because they are the drivers of the audience. But don't change the competition to suit your circumstance and to grant yourself an advantage. Just get what you earn. You'll earn way more than everybody else. The 2 leagues will earn way more than everybody else on an annual basis. It'll all work out. That over the next 10 years, if you did it my way, I guarantee you that each of them would average 4 bids, and that there would be many years in that 10 years, probably at least 2 or 3 for each of them, where they got 5.
There's no doubt. And now you've got Texas, who has the highest payroll in all of football. So now everybody's chasing Texas, who, that doesn't always bring you the success that, I mean, not that they won't be successful, but it does not always bring you the success one might think it does.
It doesn't always guarantee everything. No, we've seen that in every sport, Jim, that has allowed unfettered spending. Any sport that is not a capped sport, we have seen that just spending the most money doesn't guarantee you a championship. It doesn't even necessarily guarantee you success if you spend it badly, if you don't know what you're doing. Now that's that's not going to happen at Texas. They are at least competent. At least, we saw last year, they're at least very good. And if they do what they did last year on a regular basis, they're going to progress to excellence. I think it's too early in Sarkisian's tenure to ascribe excellence to them. But certainly the level below excellence, they're approaching that. And a few more years at this level, and they will be excellent. So that's an advantage for them. And being able to spend more as it stands now is an advantage. We don't know what it will be. We don't have a clue what it will be like in a couple of years if the House settlement is verified. If it goes into place, it will change. I don't know how it will change, but it will change. Texas will still have advantages. So will Ohio State. So will Alabama and Notre Dame. Because of the brand, they will have advantages. But maybe the advantages that they have won't be so great as they will be in the 25 season or the 25-26 season in basketball.
And we've certainly seen a leveling playing field in a lot of things, which is great. What's up next for you?
Working on a few long-term projects, as well as continuing to follow the NBA playoffs. I might dip my toe into some of that coming up soon. As I mentioned before, I'm very excited about how these playoffs are playing out. I think it's really cool. I get really weary, Jim, especially as someone who's lived my entire life in relatively large cities or suburban areas, but never in the biggest cities. Always having to hear, well, gosh, if it's not New York versus LA, the ratings will be bad. It's nonsense.
Yeah.
Ratings for the NBA playoffs this year are up. And the reason they're up is because people are entertained by the fact that there's actual competition.
And the games are good.
The games are good. The basketball is good. And it's not a foregone, okay, well, it's going to be Lakers Celtics, or it's going to be Bulls and Jazz, or whatever it might be. We have, and you turn on the game, you don't know who's going to win the game, and you don't know who's going to win the series. I mean, you might now at 3-1, but you didn't know when the Pacers took the floor against the Cavs on game 1. Who did you think was going to win the series? Who did most of the country think? The team that won 60 games, or the team that struggled to get to 50? I think it's pretty obvious. This is the way sports should be. It should be about competition. It shouldn't be about markets. And that's why the NBA is continuing to surge in popularity during these playoffs.
Mike DeCourcy from the Sporting News, Big Ten and Fox Sports Networks. Hope you're giving him a follow, Mike. I appreciate you. Good to see you again, man.
Got to tell you one more funny thing before. You had your little dog there, right?
Oh, yeah.
So I heard him bark, but I thought it was a producer saying break. So one of my answers I shortened way back a while ago because I thought that, and then I realized that it was the dog. So
he is the producer, so to
show,
speak.
Jim.
Yeah, he is the producer, but he got sent back to the producer's room. So, well, appreciate you, my friend. Look forward to seeing you next week. Absolutely. We've got more coming up from the Hard Truth Distilling Company studios right after these messages. If you're looking for a new home in the Indianapolis area, you need Cheryl Sizemore from Brick and Ivy Realty. Cheryl Sizemore has over 2 decades of experience, and that could be the difference in getting the home you want in today's tough housing market. Reach out to Cheryl at CherylSizemore@gmail.com or 317-701-0838. That's 317-701-0838. Let Cheryl Sizemore sell or find your new home today. Located on 325 acres in beautiful Brown County, Indiana, Hard Truth Distilling Company is the biggest and the best craft distillery around. While Hard Truth is already known for producing internationally awarded whiskeys and spirits like Hard Truth Sour Mash Bourbons, Sweet Mash, and Hard Road Rye, as well as their cinnamon vodka and the always popular Toasted Coconut Rum. Hard Truth Distillery offers so much more. With a full-service restaurant, ATV, and distillery tours, as well as live music, you can spend an entire day at Hard Truth Distillery while making your entire family or group happy. And that's the Hard Truth. Hard Truth products are available across Indiana, as well as many other states. So no matter where you shop, if they don't carry your favorite Hard Truth product, tell them you want the truth, the Hard Truth. Hard Truth Distilling Company encourages you to enjoy all of their products responsibly and to never drink and drive. When it comes to apparel and promotions, Freethink has you covered, literally, whether it's 24 or 200 shirts for sports leagues, businesses, or groups. Freethink Apparel and Promotions can also create your very own merchandising store. Freethink Apparel and Promotions did it for Indiana Sports Beat Radio, and they can do it for you. Whether it's screen printing, embroidery, digital printing, promotional products, vehicle wraps, or anything else under the promotional line. See what Freethink Apparel and Promotions can do for you at freethinkapparel.com. Welcome back to the Hard Truth Distilling Company studios on this Tuesday. Glad to have you along for the ride. Of course, looking forward to talking with Sam Alexis here in a little while. The Hoosier, now former Florida Gator, national champion, former Florida Gator, and now with the Indiana Hoosiers. And, you know, I was thinking about the amount of time that myself and many others have talked about the lack of a quote unquote big for this team. And that's because we've been served up a healthy dose of that for the last 4 or 5 years, whatever, with everything running through there. But I mentioned earlier, Trace Jackson-Davis, 6'9", and I believe that Sam is listed at 6'9", thereabouts. So you've got Reed Bailey. I think that they have the height. That's not going to be an issue because they're so much more athletic than they've ever been in these positions, the guards and the wings, and maybe at that spot as well. I'm not saying that Trace Jackson-Davis was a very, very athletic guy. So, but they're very athletic all the way around. Well, I don't think it's going to be as much of a hindrance as many think. We'll certainly find out because the game changes. I mean, Purdue plays how they play, but even right now, Purdue, Trey Kaufman-Renn is the guy for them in the middle. Now they have some height, yeah, but that's not who was doing the damage. That's not who people are looking at being able to do the damage for them next year. Is they're ranked number 1 by many people. It's because of the returning play of Lawyer, Smith, and Kaufman-Renn. So Indiana has that as well. They just don't have that confluence of experience together. That's the thing that Purdue has like no other team in the country. There cannot be a team in the country that has their 3 main guys that have played together for 4 years. So that has to help. But at the end of the day, it only goes so far. You still have to put the ball in the basket. So, I think the Big Ten is going to be interesting next year. What's Illinois going to be like with the influx of the European players? That's going to be something to see. And UCLA, you expect them to be good again, but what are they going to be like? I have not had near the time to go through and check all those teams out. Indiana is just going to be a very interesting team. And I think that you're bringing together a bunch of hungry guys that are going to play hard because they have a coach that is going to demand that they play hard. I don't know. I was never in a practice. I just have a hard time believing that there were many demands placed on the players by Mike Woodson. He just seems so easygoing. And again, granted, I'm assuming some things here, but he did not give off the air of, demanding discipline, demanding smart play, demanding certain things. I just didn't get that vibe from him. It was like a grandpa. And it's not necessarily because of age, because I don't get that from Rick Pitino, let me tell you. So I think that you're going to see a team that plays extraordinarily hard together to win. I think that is going to be greatly impressed upon them, that they have to do those things to be successful. You have to play hard. And that's the difference between college and the pros. Most college players throughout their entire college career continue to learn what it means to play at the hardest, highest levels. That's what a college coach has to get out of college players. That's why you see Tom Izzo, how he is. You don't see that in the NBA because it wouldn't work in the NBA. But those guys have a much better understanding of the level that they need to play at. College, not so much. You've got to keep demanding. And then they continue to learn. We're still young, still learning, still growing. So looking forward to seeing what that team can do together, because it is a nice confluence of athletic guys in different positions. It's going to be a much more up-tempo situation, and where they finish, I really don't. It's going to be quite a while before I even have a thought on that, because I don't know, like I said, where everyone else is going. Michigan, no question. You know, Purdue is picked as this team, the team to beat, picked number one by guys. I don't think that they're the number one team in the Big Ten. It's not me being negative to Purdue. I think they're the second best team in the Big Ten, but I think Michigan is probably going to be the best team in the Big Ten. We'll find out, but I am not sure. And picking Purdue number one to me is ludicrous. I do not see any chance of Purdue being able to win the national championship. I don't care. You know, it's great that they have those three core players that have played together for 4 years, but I don't care in the fact that that'll win them a national championship. They've been together for 4 years, and they only got close once because of Zach Edey. They're not. That team is not beating special teams. That's like, they didn't do it this year. There's a reason why they didn't do it this year. So, but we'll see. That's why they play the games. I don't, just like I don't see Indiana in the top four. They could surprise us, but probably don't see them in the top five. I'm not sure where they land until we get going, but top 10, yeah. But they need to be in that. It'd be nice to see them in the top six. That'd be a pretty good season as they move forward. Higher than that would be better. Fans would love that even more. But no matter what, I think the fans are going to enjoy the games they see on the floor next year. They're going to enjoy the effort that they see. I think they're going to enjoy the level of intelligent basketball. I think they're going to enjoy the strategic basketball that they see. I think they're going to enjoy the game planning that they see. I think they're going to enjoy how they attack and approach different opponents next year. I think this is going to be so many positive differences, because you've been seeing the same thing game over game for year after year for 4 years. No change, no adaptation, no adjusting. I think that changes next year. Yeah, that's dangerous, Five. Boy, when you get me thinking, it's a dangerous deal. Dangerous place in the old Cabeza up there. Northwestern set to hire scout Christian Sarkisian as their general manager. I forget where he was a scout for, daggone it. But still, Indiana football and basketball, I don't believe that they have that position filled yet. Of course, Indiana basketball could, without having announced. They haven't announced a lot of things yet. So we'll see when that happens for Indiana, because it may have already. There are certain titles that are given out, but it also determines whether or not guys are able to coach, able to go on the road and things like that. So looking forward to all of that and much more. I'm looking forward to talking to Sam, as we've had the opportunity to speak with quite a few of the players that are coming in, but and hopefully we can get more in. They should arrive. What is this? We're in mid-May, so they're only a couple weeks away from arriving on campus. A lot of those guys have yet to meet each other. And, you heard a lot, Mike Whitson talk a lot about deep into the season that, well, these guys are still getting to know each other. Well, you got to do that fast. Sam does have a ring. That's one thing. He brings, a championship pedigree. He played on a championship team. He played under a young coach that had never won an NCAA tournament game that led him to the NCAA championship. So a lot of learning went on there, a lot of experience that you get being on a team like that, because those teams go through a lot of adversity. Those teams go through struggles. Those teams need luck to achieve all that they do. So, and Brian says they're going to need more than 11 minutes a game out of him. Well, that's, first of all, he had to fight for minutes on that team. That was what made that Florida team so good. I mean, yeah, they had a good player, but they had a lot of good players. They kind of remind me in a way of the Pacers. Yeah, you have Tyrese Halliburton, but you've got Siakam, you've got TJ McConnell, you've got all these Toppin, you've got all these different guys that at any time pop up and start doing things to help you win. Those are the teams that win, because if you're a one-trick pony, well, other teams can focus on certain aspects. When you have that much diversity, that is what makes it difficult for other teams, and that is how you beat different teams, different styles of teams. So, looking forward to seeing how it all comes together next year. But we've got football in between there too. It's such an exciting time. For you Indiana fans, this has to be a very, very exciting time this offseason as you're coming into football season. You're coming in knowing you have a football team that's going to be a winner. They're going to a bowl game at a minimum. It would take a shocking turn of events for that not to happen. But now, can they get back to the CFP? Yeah, they can. And the mere fact that Indiana has a football team that can get to the college football playoffs, I don't even know how to put that in words for you. They literally have a chance to return to the college football playoffs. Now they're going to have to do some special things. They're going to have to win one of those road games. But I think they have the talent to do it. I know they have the coaching, and I think they have the talent. I think that they have the intelligence. They've shown the resilience. We're going into a season unlike any other, because we're coming off of a season like no other, which is mind-boggling. But usually it would just be a rocket ship up and then it would fall back down. Not the case here. This is what it used to be like for so long for the basketball program. I mean, a long year after year after year after year. And that's why the basketball fan base is so entrenched, in addition to the fact that Indiana loves basketball. But when you win and win and win, well, that becomes a habit. And that becomes a habit for the fans. They don't have that for football, but I guarantee you they can pick it up quickly. And I think that is going to be the case. This season, 8-4 is the bottom for me, man. Bottom. That's crazy to say. I think they can be as good as 10-2 in the regular season. Amazing. I cannot wait to get a read on the basketball team. I don't know how good they can be until we need to see them together. I think that they're going to have the talent to do some good things. I'm not going to put them in the upper four, but I can't lock them out of, I don't know. We just don't know what they're going to be like together. And so it's just hard to predict that. Rudy says, bring back the Oval IU logo. That thing should be put in a box buried 1,000 feet underground and then filled with concrete over top of it. Never to be seen or heard from again. Sorry, not a fan. I think that logo was not even supposed to be used. But Bill says the football team will have to stay healthy to have another great year. Well, that goes without saying. Absolutely. And all of the things I'm saying about the football team, come with the caveat. Got to keep your main guys healthy. They did a pretty good job of that last year. They lost a quarterback for a bit, but losing the offensive lineman hurt. But as they go through this, Indiana and Kurt Cignetti continues to add depth to his team. That is huge. That is an area that's what got Indiana last year. Just a little less talent on the offensive line and certainly a lack of depth there. But they have worked on both of those and more. It's an exciting time for you Indiana fans, period. Don't know what the Indiana women's basketball team is going to be like. A lot of changes there. Lots of changes. So we will certainly find out. Hey, we're going to take a break. Sam, Alexis should be joining us next on the other side. Back with more from the Hard Truth Distilling Company studios after these messages.
The ISC Sports Network is your home for sports content across the Hoosier State. Find us live on TV and streaming or archived on our website and our app. The ISC is your one-stop shop for the content you want to see, including high school sports, college sports, and other great events throughout the year. Subscribe to our streaming service and get access to it all. ISC, local lives here.
Know a team or group needing a fundraiser? Boost Fundraising raises more money faster and offers the most unique and user-friendly online fundraiser in the nation. Your team receives personalized fundraising pages for each team member. Free team-branded promo gifts shipped to each donor. Boost Fundraising does it all. Sports teams, marching bands, charity causes, and community groups. Go to boostfundraising.com and be sure to enter the promo code COYLE, that's COYLE, to receive a discounted fundraiser. If you're looking for a new home in the Indianapolis area, you need Cheryl Sizemore from Brick and Ivy Realty. Cheryl Sizemore has over 2 decades of experience, and that could be the difference in getting the home you want in today's tough housing market. Reach out to Cheryl at CherylSizemore@gmail.com or 317-701-0838. That's 317-701-0838. Let Cheryl Sizemore sell or find your new home today. When it comes to apparel and promotions, Freethink has you covered, literally, whether it's 24 or 200 shirts for sports leagues, businesses, or groups. Freethink Apparel and Promotions can also create your very own merchandising store. Freethink Apparel and Promotions did it for Indiana Sports Beat Radio, and they can do it for you. Whether it's screen printing, embroidery, digital printing, promotional products, vehicle wraps, or anything else under the promotional line. See what Freethink Apparel and Promotions can do for you at freethinkapparel.com. Welcome back to the Hard Truth Distilling Company studios on this Tuesday. Hoping to have Sam Alexis join us here in a little bit. Tried to reach out to him, but his phone is off at the moment. Waiting for him to jump on and have a conversation with him to see if he's met any of the guys that he'll be playing with, how he's looking forward to a new home,
and what all he can bring from his national championship season of a year ago with Florida. Looking forward to seeing what this team can do, and the change that happens in the program and the excitement that follows it. I think it's just going to be, like I said before the break, an exciting time for all Indiana fans. Don't know what the women's program is going to be like with the amount of mass exodus that they had. So we'll certainly have to wait and find out. But things are looking good for Indiana and all the way around as their major sports are on the rise. Of course, basketball is the one that fans want to see back in the winner's circle, and with good reason, because as you see in this day and age, the ability, we talk about how the transfer portal is, while it has negatives, it has made both, especially football, it has leveled the playing field. Basketball leveled the playing field. So looking forward to seeing who's the breakout team this season. Last year, Indiana was a breakout team. Illinois was close. Those two teams are going to battle for being one of the, do they battle for being one of the, where they're battling for one of the 4 spots for certain that will, there will be at least 4 teams from the Big Ten that make it into the college football playoffs. Of course, everyone always thinks Michigan and Ohio State, and Penn State is already listed by number 1 by some programs. So then you've got Oregon, Indiana, Illinois, Iowa, USC. It gets pretty deep pretty fast. Teams that you're battling. Now, Indiana doesn't have to worry about USC. They don't play them. They don't have to worry about Ohio State this season. They don't play them. Nor Michigan this season. They don't play them. They do, however, play Penn State, the current number 1 ranked team in some places. And Oregon. The thing is, 2 out of the 3 current toughest games on Indiana's football schedule are away games. That's what makes it all the more difficult. And that's not even including being at Iowa, which is always a difficult place to play. Remember going there the last time when a lot of expectations. Yeah, how is Indiana going back to Iowa again? This Indiana-Iowa thing blows my mind. Indiana, back before we had all this change just a few years ago, Indiana had opened up the season, I think 5 out of 7 seasons with a Big Ten opponent. Iowa had opened up a Big Ten season once in 25 years with a Big Ten opponent. It's just, and here we are going back to Iowa again. Why is Iowa not coming to Indiana? It's how the cookie crumbles. But that's an opportunity. The Iowa game, that's going to be a major opportunity for Indiana. If you can go to Iowa and get a win, that will help calm some of the natives, because winning at Penn State, let's be honest, that's going to be hard as hell. Going all the way to Oregon, out at Autzen Stadium, very loud. That's going to be hard. Now, I don't know what Oregon's going to be like this year, but I expect Dan Lanning to do what he normally does and plug and play another great one. They continue to do that and continue to have successful seasons. Now, they had an easy schedule, in my opinion, last season. We'll see what it's like for them this year. But this Indiana-Illinois game, kicking Big Ten playoff, the 4th game into the season, hey, there are a lot of people who are talking about the Illini. Brett Bielema is pumping them up. I was reading something yesterday. If you took, I think it's 74 that goes from Indiana all the way across to to Missouri, across the state. They have got billboards lined up all the way that some just have ILL and the next have INI, Illini. And it just goes on like that all the way across the state. They're pumping it up. They want to get it back. But they also know that, hey, this is a different time. You got Indiana now. You've got UCLA, USC. What's UCLA going to be like? Tino Sunseri out there, Indiana's former co-offensive coordinator, with Nick Imaleben at quarterback. A lot of improvements by UCLA. Deshaun Foster, as much as we kind of made fun of him last year, they made improvements. They were an improved Big Ten football team. As their season continued, hell, they went down to LSU, and were they tied at the half last season? I'm thinking 17-17. Can't remember, but they made improvements. So the Big Ten is going to continue to just be a juggernaut every season. And when this house settlement settles and everybody has some money to spend, football will never be completely level because, as Mike DeCourcy just said, programs like Texas, Ohio State, Penn State, they're where the money is, are going to have advantages. Michigan, they're going to have advantages. They're going to have more in NIL money. Don't confuse NIL money with the house settlement revenue sharing. Everybody gets the rev share. And that's great. But if you have rev share plus tons and tons of NIL cash, well, there's your advantage. So there will continue to be some advantages, but it is definitely diluted, will be diluted with the house settlement, influx of cash from the house settlement. Can Indiana sustain this? There's no reason they can't, because we've seen Kurt Cignetti and his staff already early on. And now we're seeing this from Darren DeVries. All the basketball offers that have gone on, tons. But Kurt Cignetti has been building towards the future already. They're getting commitments, visits from these guys in the 26, 27 classes. They're already building for the future. And you're building off of your success today. They've done a hell of a job doing that. And will continue to do that. Indiana basketball already, as hard as it was, difficult of a time that it took to fill this roster, and for the most part, I'd say it's done. They have also been working on recruiting. 2027 four-star guard Chase Barnum expected to visit Indiana. I mean, they're looking out a few years. Branham is expected to be at Indiana Thursday. He received an offer from Indiana last month. He's a 6'3" combo guard, ranked number 84 in the On3 industry rankings. He's from Rogerville, Missouri. Holds offers from Missouri, Iowa, Kansas State, and others in addition to Indiana. He plays for KC Run GMC on the AAU circuit. That's the same AAU program that new assistant coach Nick Norton played for. So Indiana also using their contacts. That's another thing that I think Darren DeVries just did a hell of a job putting this staff together, bringing in guys that had connections in so many different places. Rod Clark, Drew Adams, Nick Norton, et al. the ability to reach out into different places and have established relationships, pretty important. We compare him to a basketball robot or like an alien, Branham's trainer, Jordan Walton, said earlier this year. His processing speed and ability to understand things immediately. You have to explain things 3 to 9 times with most kids. Chase finishes your sentences. It's really weird. Working out with him is a different experience than any experience with anyone else. Smart players. That's good to see. 2027 top 3 prospect Ryan Hampton lands an Indiana offer. One of the best players in the 27 class is of Dynamic Prep, Texas. He became the latest Hoosier target. He's ranked number 3 overall in the On3 industry rankings in the 2027 class. He's the number 1 shooting guard. He transferred to Dynamic Prep last summer to play for head coach Jermaine O'Neal and was a critical part of the rotation this year. Jermaine O'Neal coached the team that won the Chipotle Nationals this year, if you remember. So Indiana already going after the top players. And the difference to me is I think that they're going to be in a much better position because of the people that are actually recruiting them have connections with either the coaches, the places that they are. That was not quite the case before. It was just Indiana saying, well, we're coming down from Indiana. We're going to make you an offer. Didn't hear so much about relationships. I mean, seriously, think about it. How many relationships did you hear about with former staffers that had this relationship? Not a lot. Not a lot. It was just a different recruiting style. I think you're getting back to a little more of the old-fashioned recruiting style now, but that's only going to go so far because recruiting has changed with the transfer portal. I'm not sure how recruiting freshmen has changed immensely. I'm not sure how many freshmen you actually want on your roster unless they are a dynamic game changer, unless they're a freshman that's going to impact, that's going to contribute, that can contribute. You don't want to take up a lot of space. Production over potential. Production over potential. Now, I understand you want to build a basis and build culture. And there is good to having guys in the program for multiple years. It would be great if you could have as many of those as possible. And maybe you'll see a little bit more of that again. I'm not saying that you won't. I don't know. But it does look like I think that the recruiting success for Indiana will go up because it's really being attacked by people that are better recruiters and have better relationships. The head coach, and it starts with the head coach. The head coach knows the importance of recruiting. He knows the importance of these relationships. He knows the importance of not only establishing, but maintaining those relationships, staying in touch, staying in contact, staying up to date on what they're doing, on the success that they are having or are not having. That is that's a difference that I see coming. And it's something that you have to do. You have to be in these players' forefront to a degree without overstepping, without becoming a hindrance or a pain in the butt, to be honest with you. They want to feel loved. They want to feel wanted. And it's not that I think that people didn't feel wanted before. They felt needed, maybe. I think, but there's a difference between feeling wanted and feeling needed. We'll see how it goes. We've certainly seen recruiting on the football side of things increase, and that will continue to do so as well. Indiana football is winning. When you win, things get easier. Recruiting gets easier. Hell, people start recruiting you. People start wanting to play for you. How many people watched Curt Cignetti last year, players, and said, man, I want to play for that dude? I guarantee you that happened a lot. I mean, yeah, it's funny and this and that, but behind closed doors, there's some differences. But these players, that stuff matters intently. How they relate to their coaches matters immensely. It matters in the performance they give. It matters in the performance a coach is able to get out of a player. I talked about that earlier because these college kids are still learning what their ceiling is. They're still learning what is really giving your all. They don't know where that wall is yet. And college coaches have to pull that out. They've got to pull them up, get them higher. You just don't know how hard you can work and how hard you have to work. You continue to learn that. And a college coach has to teach that, instill that, all the while instilling a winning culture, a winning game plan, and all the things that go along with it. So, a lot to it. There's a lot going on. And if all of those things are not happening, and I don't think that they were happening previously on the basketball side, but if all those things are not happening, it is more than evident. And I think it was more than evident. You know, they put out all the videos of, oh, we're going to go fishing up at Steve Ferguson's place, and we're going to do this and that. It didn't mean jack at the end of the day because that team was not a team that was together. Umar Ballo walking off of the floor at Purdue, right, wrong, there, other about what he was upset about. Nope. That team was not together. How they played on the floor, that last play at Purdue, and a few others. That team was not together. They weren't prepared. That's another thing. They were not prepared. The coaching staff wasn't prepared. I think that is different. Now, I'm not saying this stuff to be negative. I'm saying it to be positive because I think that you fans are going to see a huge difference. I think that you will not see an unprepared team. I don't think that if there comes down a situation where you've got seconds in a game and decisions have to be made, I think you're going to start seeing the correct decisions made, whether that's by the coaching staff or the guys on the floor. I think there are going to be so many small differences that you didn't even probably realize were not going on well, that are going to make differences in winning and losing and how enjoyable the games are. Even some of the losses. I'm not saying you should ever enjoy a loss. I hate losing more than I like winning. But if you do everything that you can do, should do, needed to do, not much more that you can do. Big difference. Got to take a break. Glad to have you along on this Tuesday. We'll have to try to get Sam in again. Sometimes these guys just forget, although we spoke last night briefly. Back after the messages from the Hard Truth Distilling Company Studios. Andy Moore Honda is Bloomington's #1 Honda dealer for a reason. Buy a new Honda and get a 3-month break from car payments. That's right, no payments for 90 days. That includes the all-new, all-electric Honda Prologue, and you get it for just 0.9% financing. Or the 2024 Honda Ridgeline Black Edition or the Honda Accord LX, both for just 1.9% financing. Get more to your door from AndyMooreHonda.com, Bloomington's #1 Honda dealer and your best place for new and used vehicles.
If you're looking for a new home in the Indianapolis area, you need Cheryl Sizemore from Brick and Ivy Realty. Cheryl Sizemore has over 2 decades of experience, and that could be the difference in getting the home you want in today's tough housing market. Reach out to Cheryl at CherylSizemooreSells@gmail.com or 317-701-0838. That's 317-701-0838. Let Cheryl Sizemore sell or find your new home today.
Located on 325 acres in beautiful Brown County, Indiana, Hard Truth Distilling Company is the biggest and the best craft distillery around. While Hard Truth is already known for producing internationally awarded whiskeys and spirits like Hard Truth's sour mash bourbons, sweet mash, and hard road ryes, as well as their cinnamon vodka and the always popular toasted coconut rum. Hard Truth Distillery offers so much more. With a full-service restaurant, ATV, and distillery tours, as well as live music, you can spend an entire day at Hard Truth Distillery while making your entire family or group happy. And that's the Hard Truth. Hard Truth products are available across Indiana, as well as many other states. So no matter where you shop, if they don't carry your favorite Hard Truth product, tell them you want the truth, the Hard Truth. Hard Truth Distilling Company encourages you to enjoy all of their products responsibly and to never drink and drive. Welcome back to the Hard Truth Distilling Company Studios on this Tuesday. So glad to have you along for the ride. I hate that Sam is not able to join us, but I'm not sure. I think he might be having a phone problem because can't get through to him. But we'll work on getting him back on. But a lot of guys to talk about on the basketball side for Indiana. As I said, 2027 4-star guard Chase Branham. He just gets it, his love for the game to enhance his skill set on the floor. Visits are starting to take shape for 26 and 27 recruiting classes, and it begins this week for Indiana basketball and its new coaching staff. I talked about Chase earlier. He'll be on campus Thursday for an unofficial visit, just a little over a month after receiving his first offer from the IU staff. The 6'3" guard has earned offers from Indiana, Iowa, Missouri, and is starting to see his recruitment take off. It's going to be exciting to see possible rivalry with Iowa, maybe because of the Ben McCollum thing. That they both guys were Drake. Just trying to create a little something. They're probably kind of similar a little bit, but Indiana, it's going to be weird. I feel sorry for Iowa fans, though. You know, if they're winning, I guess it won't matter, but they're used to those higher octane games, 80 points a game, and now they're going to be at like 50 points a game. Whoo, that's a lot harder than going the opposite, but we shall see. But Branham is not the only one. Also, Ryan Hampton, a 2027 top 3 prospect, lands the offer. I talked about that just a little bit ago from Dallas or Dynamic Prep, coached by Jermaine O'Neal. It's just amazing. There have been so many Indiana offers that have gone out here in recent weeks, and that how hard that is. Indiana's been working so hard on filling their roster, their main roster, coaching staff, all of that, and working on recruiting for next season already. I mean, think about that. Think about the names you have to go through. Now, not that they weren't already up on names because they were kind of doing this before, but I can guarantee you the players that they're talking to, recruiting, offering now, not the same level that it was when they were in West Virginia because they couldn't. They didn't have the cachet or the cash, either one. Now they have the cachet and the cash to do both. So it's going to be interesting to see if Indiana can start breaking through with some of these high-end recruits. We saw them offer so many high-end recruits during the Mike Woodson era and just didn't land them. Not that they got Jalen Hood-Schifino, but and a few others, but they lost so many that they never really had a shot at. They honestly never had a shot at. I think the biggest reason was because they weren't recruited the way they were being recruited by everyone else. And the winning wasn't there. As much as people think that it's all about the money now, it's not. The money's going to come. They're going to get the money. They want to win. They want to develop because if they're really good, they're thinking about getting to the NBA. So they want to win, they want to develop, and they're going to get paid. So the money's a part of it. Yeah. Now, can you go out and overpay for guys that, yeah, can do that? Exhibit A, Indiana, last season. You have to have a team that is put together to play. And I think that is something that Darren DeVries has done a pretty damn good job at. He has put together a roster that may not be the most impressive roster in college basketball, but he's put together a roster that can play the style that he wants to play, that can do the things that he wants his team to do. The type of players, whether it's Josh Harris, Connor Enright, Tucker DeVries, Reed Bailey, they can fill the holes that he needs filled. They can be in the position that he needs them in, whether it's shooting from distance, whether it's being able to play in the paint, handle the ball, but play smarter and play smarter together. That is just something that has just not been, that was for so long a part of Indiana basketball and is now for nearly a decade been removed. The Archie era was probably one of the dumbest eras in the history of college basketball from an IQ standpoint. But that's going to change. I am convinced that this staff there's a difference between wanting to win and convicted to win. I think Darren DeVries is convicted to win. He's going to do the things he needs to do to try to get to that point. Mike Woodson reminds me, great IU player, don't get me wrong. And he may be a good NBA coach. But you cannot coach college like you coach NBA, and I think that was the issue. You can't coach, you're not going to see a Tom Izzo in the NBA, yelling at players and grabbing them and all that. Nah, that doesn't play there. But you got to see that in college sometimes because as I talked about earlier, these guys don't know. They don't know what does playing hard really mean? Where's your ceiling? Where's your effort ceiling? I think this team is going to be coached by guys that know that they have to do that. That is their job and their responsibility. And the only way that you're going to win is to get your team to play at their ceiling or as close to it as you can possibly get them to do so. I think Curt Cignetti does that quite well. I think you saw that in spades with Indiana football under Curt Cignetti. Plan. They have a plan for what they're doing. And it doesn't matter if they're up 56-0. And if something is not done right, he was pissed. And it was great. But that's the path to excellence. You don't accept anything less than that, because there's going to come a time where you have to perform at that level under extraordinary circumstances. And if you don't do it in other times, there's no guarantee you'll do it at the right time. So I think Indiana fans are just going to be in for a fun year next year. Football leading into basketball is going to be there's going to be a lot of excitement. And again, going into the football season, knowing you're going to have a good season could be great, but they're going to have a good season. They're going to a bowl game at a minimum. Just saying those words are crazy. It's crazy. Knowing, and if they don't make the college football playoffs, they probably end the bowl win streak drought that still continues since 1991, which that's kind of disingenuous to say. It's mainly because they don't go to enough bowl games. That's why they haven't won one in so long. Haven't been to enough. So Brian says, I lost it. Under Darren DeVries, Javon Small was a top guard at West Virginia. DeVries even called Small the best guard in the country after a performance against Iowa State. And then let's see. I had another comment that I think it was Russell, that something to do with these guys, the current 11, don't dream of playing for Indiana. That doesn't matter. And that stuff no longer matters. The game has changed. All that you need to know is you have guys that play their butts off, that play to win, that understand where they are currently and embrace that. You don't have to have grown up doing it. Trent Sisley did. But look at how all of them have embraced the history, the tradition that they mentioned, how walking into Assembly Hall was how attention-getting it was. You don't hear people talking about that going to Carver Hawkeye Arena. You don't even hear people talking about that going to Purdue. I mean, there's a mystique. There's a mystique that these guys get. And when you play in that building and you play in front of that crowd, it will get your attention. When that noise hits them like they've never seen before, it will get their attention. But they know the tradition. They've got dads. They know the history. We've heard a lot of them talk about it, even on here. So it should be just an outstanding season, athletic-wise, for Indiana fans next year. Purdue is going to have a better football season. I can tell that Barry Odom is doing things with that program, and that's good because you know what? It's no fun to watch Purdue suck that bad. I know you all enjoy it, but competition is great. Competition is great. The rivalry between Indiana, Bob Knight and Gene Cady, there was like nothing else like that. That was incredible. That's what you want. That's how you want a rivalry to be. So looking forward to it, getting back to being more like that. Man, I had a great time on the show today. Did a lot more talking than I expected to do. Hopefully we can get Sam rescheduled, see what happened with his phone. I think he had a technical issue himself, as a matter of fact. But looking forward to being back tomorrow. Of course, Dylan Sin, usually on the program as well, and Kyle Nedenrip, and Rick Bozich, as he is on each Wednesday. Make sure you go to thehoosier.com. Man, they have got lots and lots of content loaded up right now. Don't forget, they have the special $5 for the first month, or I don't even remember, is it $1 for the first month? 50% off after that. Really appreciate if you do that, guys. For all of you that listen, go get a subscription to thehoosier.com. Support those guys because they're going to help get us all kinds of great interviews as well. So support them. Appreciate you if you do that. Hey, we've got more coming up tomorrow. Cannot wait to get back to it. Until then, I'm Jim Coyle. I will see you on the radio.
Thanks for listening to Indiana Sports Beat Radio. Be sure to subscribe to our YouTube page for more clips and team coverage of Indiana basketball, football, and more. You can also find full episodes and tons of other content on thehoosier.com. We'll see you next time for another edition of Indiana Sports Beat Radio.